Hello everybody, my name is Kala Siddiqui, and in this video I'm going to show you how to assemble pyramid patio heater. And this one, I assembled this one, and I'm going to assemble another one and record a full video so you can see how easily you can assemble it in less than an hour. Okay, let's go and start assembling it. I have already set up all the parts. I have taken them out of the boxes because they come in multiple boxes, since there are so many small bits and pieces and parts, so they come in multiple boxes. I took them out of the boxes, threw away, recycled the boxes, except for the glass part, because the glass part is very fragile, so I didn't want to leave it just like that without a box. But this unit is inside the box until I get ready to install it. It's going to be in the box. So the unit comes in a bag mixed with different washers and screws, which is not good. I actually rather have them in a card and plastic separated, or in little separate bins or separate baggies with labels, so you know which number. Now when you get everything in a big sack like this, it's a disaster to separate them, but you have to do that first before you do anything else. For this assembly, you get all the tools that you need inside the bag, which includes a wrench, a flathead screwdriver, and a Phillips screwdriver. However, the wrench and the screwdriver is okay, but the wrench is a complete garbage. So you have to get your own socket head. I'm using a electric, or I should say rechargeable wall drill electric screwdriver, but you could even use, if you use a manual one, you have to get a better quality. The size of the nuts used in this is 10 millimeter, so you have to get a socket that's 10 millimeter, and of course something that's adaptable with your drill. Okay, now you also need machine oil. I'm using machine oil because the screws you're gonna have a hard time trying to screw those in, because the panels through the tapping of which the screws go through is very poorly, I should say, tapped, because unless you put some machine oil, what happens is that you strip the screw or the tapping, because they're skinny panels that they did some tapping on them, some tapping didn't go through, and some of them are blocked by the black paint that they put. So that's the reason you need machine oil. Okay, first I'm going to tell you what are the components that we get. You get a wheel assembly, or the tires, which you need, and that's the very first step. You need this, and then you need the bottom. This comes in two pieces. You need the bottom with these facing up. Remember, this will be the back of the heater, which the tire is, and this will be the front of the heater where the knobs will go. So keep that in mind. So the tire will go in the back of the heater. This, you have to remove the plastic protection. It's an aluminum cover that goes to the very top. You have to remove the protection because it will melt. I know a lot of people, they like to leave the protection on because they think it will protect the metal, but in this case this unit gets so hot that if you don't remove the plastic protective sticky layer, if you don't remove it, it's going to melt. It's going to cause fire and other hazardous smokes and gases that may not be good for you to breathe that air. Okay, now this seems to be a walk in the park to remove, but it's kind of hard because it keeps breaking. When you're trying to remove it, it keeps breaking, and you have it on both sides, so that's ×2 difficulty. Now you could always fast forward the boring parts on YouTube. I'm not gonna fast forward the video because I want you to see every single step, and I want you to see how much time is needed to assemble this, because if I fast forward most of the steps, what happens is that you're not gonna know how much time you need to dedicate for this project. Okay, this part, a little bit of residue was left over, which isn't good. I need to clean it up later because it will smoke. The residue will smoke as it gets heated up. This is made out of aluminum, so it's extremely lightweight, and it has a reflective coating, because the job of this panel is to be mounted at the very top of the heater and to radiate the heat downwards, so the heat is not wasted and by being radiated upwards. So this is more like a heat reflector. That's what it is, heat reflector, for lack of a better term. Okay, so make sure all the small bits and pieces that are stuck are taken out, and that's all shiny and all around, and there aren't any residues left. Okay, now the next step is that we have to separate all our screws. This you might not need. I had it just in case, but I didn't need it. See what a mess it is? They didn't separate everything, so you have to do this yourself. Okay, this wrench, as you can see, it's rusted, terrible. I don't know what's in it. It's garbage anyways. I don't need that. Okay, you need 4 of these brackets. These brackets you will be using at last to hold the grills all around the heater. This is the screwdriver, which is not too bad quality-wise, but you don't need it because I don't need it because I have the electric one. You have 4 of these nuts. You have 3 of these hand tightening nuts, and you have, I should have 3 of these and I don't. Let's see. Okay, so the battery leaked. And it went all over that, which isn't good. That's not good. Let's see, there's one more. So that's my 3rd one. Could you zoom in on these parts that leaked? The battery leaked and damaged that, so I could send it to the manufacturer. Okay, so that's that. Now put your screws, line up your screws. You should have 30 of one screw and 16 of the other. The longer ones you have 16, and the shorter one you will have 30, which I'm going to. Again, you could fast forward these parts if you don't need to see, but I'm not gonna cut the video or anything, because I want you to see the entire procedure and see how much is involved. Okay, these are for these are for the tires, for the wheels. We have these little washers. Okay, this is the long kind, the short kind, short, and short. Okay, now everything is nice and neat. That's not, has nothing to do with this. Okay, so everything seems to be nice and neat. By the way, the battery, even if it wasn't all leaking, the battery is it's a carbon battery. It's garbage. You buy your own battery. The one that comes with this, it's complete garbage. You don't need to use that. Okay, so we have the parts that are included. These are the small parts that you saw. 3 of these, 3 of those, and 4 of these each, and 16, 30, and we have 6 of these, 1 of these knobs. This is my tools, and the manual, and then we have the wheel. We should have the base. This is the base. This is the top of the heater. We should have 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 of these panels. 1 of the top, the burner itself, and 4 black panels in the glass. Basically, that's it. That's all that's in there. Now, if you look at a manual is pretty confusing. Why? Because on the manual, it shows they have generic pictures of multiple different models, which may not apply to the one that you have. For example, the manual shows you the list of the parts and components that are included, all the lists in here. However, what's not in the manual is the actual shape of the bottom piece. If you look at the bottom piece in the manual, it has top and bottom extensions, but the actual piece that you will get doesn't have bottom extensions. So that's why don't rely too much on that. Okay, so the first step, as you can see in the manual, is installation of the wheels, and that's what we're going to do. The wheels will be installed in this manner, that you put the wheels here and the 4 screws and nuts from underneath. Now this doesn't have any locking mechanism like lock washers or anything, but if you do have lock washers, I recommend using that so it doesn't get loose as time goes by. Okay, now I'm going to use this to close these. Now I have it in number 9 as far as the clutch for the tightness, but you can see based on the drill you're using, you may be using a different setting. It has to be tight enough so it's not loose or anything. Okay, so that's that. Now what we're doing is we're putting 4 of the sidebars, the ones that are shorter. See, 4 of these are shorter and 4 are longer. I'm going to show you now. This is the longer kind. This is the second stage. This is the first stage. You need the shorter ones. Okay. So you need 4 of the shorter ones. And if you look right here, there's a sliding notch, and on each side, that's what you slide then to this notch. If you see right here, quickly zoom into this. There's like some kind of a, I should say, a button screw or permanent screw there, and this slides into it like that. So you do all of those on the 4 sides. Okay. Now we have to look at the manual to see what size screw we need. We need the bolt M6 screws for that, which we already did, and for this we need the M5 10 millimeter long, 8 pieces. So this is the 10 millimeter long ones, the longer ones. Let's see. These are mix these. Okay, these are the longer ones. So let's see, 10, is that a 10 millimeter? Let me see. That is a 10 millimeter, and for that I have 16 pieces of M510, which I have 16 pieces of. So that's the one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I need 8 of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are Phillips head screws. Since these are Phillips head, I'm going to need a okay, so these are solidly in place, and let's see. Now we need the middle section, this guy. And as you can see, even in the middle section, now okay, here is where you need to be very careful. See these knobs right here? This knob must be in the opposite side of the wheel, because the wheel is the back and the knob is the front. So it has to be in the opposite side of the wheel. And as you can see, there are like little notches, little and sticking out type of button screws that needs to go through the notches that are in there already. So basically you're sliding it in its place. Can you take a zoom of this? Zoom of this, how this goes in. This has to go in that, just same as the bottom. Okay. Okay, so this is in place nice and neatly. Now what do we need? Now we need 4 more screws to put it in place. Now this is where I think their own screwdriver comes in handy, because I don't have much room for the electric one. So I'm going to use theirs, because you don't have room to use the other one. Okay, let's put these. Okay, I'm going to put this one. one more, and we'll be all set on this assembly of this part. The manual is not very friendly because it's not, the pictures are very small, it's not enlarged, and they don't give you a QR code to see the PDF manual online and zoom into it. That's a problem. So, okay, now what we need to do is we need to put the extension rods, the second level rods. On the second level rods, if you look, we have two holes for screws on this, on the center. This one we don't. This part that we have two holes for screws goes on the, at the bottom, and they go right here, and you put the two screws right there. So this is on every single one of these. There are 4 of them. So I'm going to put the second one like that, 2 screws there. So I'm going to put the screws because I don't want it to be unstable. So I need M5 10 pieces and 3x16 8 pieces. Okay, so there I need the M5. That's the 5mm. Let me make sure M5 10 pieces is which one. M5 is the one that I have 16 pieces of, so I need these. M5 10. Okay, so that's M5, double checking here. Yeah. Okay, I need to find a couple of my missing screws. Let's see. Oh, there. Okay, so I need to get these guys out of the plastic baggies. Okay. Now I started to look like, oh, I put this upside down. It started to look like a pyramid. Okay. You can fast forward or double the speed of the playback if you don't want to see every detail. Okay, this one zoom in so they see where I'm putting the screws. You could come here and zoom in. So the screws are basically going right there. And these are those screws that you have 16 pieces of them, not the one that you have 30 pieces of them. Okay, now what are we going to do? We are going to take the screwdriver and tighten those. Make sure not to strip the head of the screw. So apply a lot of pressure to the tip of the screwdriver, so the tip of the screwdriver doesn't skip on top of the screw head and causing damage to the screw head, because you could never open it or tighten it if you damage the screws. Okay, so let's see what's the next step. The next step is to put, let's see where I'm at. Okay, step number 3 is to put the top, for which we need 8 pieces of the smaller screw. This is the top, and this is where you need the oil, okay? Because I already assembled one of these and it wasn't fun. So you're gonna put a little bit of oil in every one of these screw places where the screws go. The tapping is not done very well. Some of them are not even tapped by the machine. So what I did is I used self-tapping screws. These usually are not tight, so it's a good idea to tighten them. Okay, so that's tight. Now I'm going to put back my Phillips screw and let's get this thing assembled. Now for this I'm going to stand on the table. That's why I chose the living room, because this is the only table that can handle my weight. Out of all the things, I would say this was the hardest part. Okay, so I need to grab a couple of more screws here. The screws don't line up very well, so keep that in mind. The screw holes don't line up, so you have to do a lot of pushing around to make it line up. Okay, so I'm going to tie this a little bit to make that other end line up. Okay, so now what we will do is we'll put this screw, hopefully it will line up. Okay, I'm gonna push it around so I could get access to this side, because I cannot move the table around. Need more screws. And I believe I have 2 more to go. So I'm going to tie all the screws now. Now this is weaker, so now I have it on number 7. And I'm talking about the clutch, because number 9 would be too strong for this. Okay. Tying all the screws. Okay, all around it looks nice and tight. And let's see what's the next step. Okay, the next step is to put these three and put the top. Okay, so these three, mine, one came all rusted and ugly, but yeah, I'm sure yours won't be like that. You need these three, you need these three, and you need 3 washers. So actually you need 6 washers, not 3, because you need a washer below and a washer on top. So in order for you to see, I'm going to put this sideways. I'm going to put this horizontal so you can see. So you might want to go that side so you can see. I'm going to put this horizontal. Okay, so what I'm doing is putting these 3 of these. Now I need 3 of these. And now I need this guy. And let's see, did I put 2 washers? No. Okay, tie that one so you can get a good grip on the rest. Okay, looks like I dropped a washer because I can't find a washer. Let me see. I'm missing a washer. Anyway, so I dropped a washer, but you should have one more washer on the last one. I don't have the washer. Later I'm going to add it when I find it. Okay. And now let's see what's the next step. The next step is to put the glass. Now the glass, make sure that your hands are not oily, because the glasses, if your hands are oily, you will have fingerprints on the glass and it's very hard to wipe clean after it gets very hot. So make sure your hands are not oily. Wash your hands before you handle the glass. The glass comes with a silicone rubber. This is a high temperature rubber which goes at the bottom of the glass because it doesn't melt. It's silicone, it's not rubber, it's silicone. So I shouldn't say rubber. It's a silicone washer that can handle really, really high temperatures. Because of that, because it can handle high temperature, it goes on the bottom side. However, this, you can't just put this at the bottom side. You have to first put the top and then push it up and it will bring it back down. Watch. Okay, so I'm at the top. Wait a minute. This needs to go out. Those little clips needs to be on the exterior of the glass. There are 3 clips. They all need to be on the exterior of the glass tube. Make sure you put the glass tube center. Make sure it's nice and tight. And in the center. Okay, now I see a little particle on the glass there, the white particle. You have to remove it, because if that thing burns, it will ruin the transparency of your glass. Okay, make sure the glass is crystal clean, because you cannot reach inside the glass for cleanup. It's very hard to reach inside. Okay, let's see what's next. After you put the glass, you're going to put the grill. This is the grill. The grill will simply slide in. It doesn't have any screws, but it will slide in these notches. You have 6 notches, 2 on the top, 2 in the middle, 2 at the bottom, and the grill will slide on it. However, at the very top of the grill, you do have brackets that will hold the grill. So keep that in mind. Okay, now I noticed that this is slightly bent. So this is where a plier comes in handy, because that one is slightly bent. Okay, I fixed it, and now it should go without a problem. Okay, let's get this a little bit. Okay, so all 6 of them slided correctly, and now I'm going to need a bracket and a screw to tie the top. And there it is. Now I need to put the second grill. Inspect the grill, make sure you have all 6 of these little. Now a couple of them, if you notice, they are bent and chipping. They have to be slightly bent this way. There. They were bent down, which is not good. Okay, this one is bent up too much. These are the things that happen in shipping. Okay, now we will put this one. Make sure all 6 of those little tabs went inside the slot. Now, what we need to do is do exactly the same again. Put a holder on the top. Okay, I dropped a screw, but I found it. So as you can see, there it is, the second one, nice and neatly. Now we will do the third one. We first inspect it to make sure they're all in good position. This one is a little too bent. Look at this one. Look how badly this one is bent. So this is what I'm saying, that in chipping they get damaged. I hope when I straight this it doesn't break. it did break. So I have to get a replacement of this from the manufacturer. Okay. All right, so the rest are good. The rest are good. Since this is not a moving component, it may not vibrate. But if this was a moving equipment, it would do a lot of vibrations when you have somewhere rattling vibration when you have a piece break like that. So, all right. So let's put the top. I think I should be fine because this is holding it from the top. So the existence of that doesn't make much difference. So there it is. That's good. And now the last one. Let's look at the last one. The tabs are in good position. And oh my God, look at this. This one is bent too much. So I have to, bent it the other way. Looks like this box was dropped. Okay. This one is bent a little bit. And everything else looks good. And we'll put this one. We are almost there, not quite. Okay. I missed one hole here, so I'm going to open it again. But that's good. Okay, so we're going to put this. Nice and easy. Okay, so now what's left are the 4 bottom panels, which is the easiest part. The panels, there are 3 panels that look alike, but one is different, and that's the one which is with a single hole right here. This is the front one where you put this knob to open and close. Okay, so this is different, the rest are the same. And on that different panel, you might want to put this screw too, so that the panel doesn't completely fall apart. Okay, I'll teach you that once I get to that, but I'm going to do the other 3 first. Okay, the panels seem to be okay. They aren't bent or anything, even though they had a very rough ride. As far as transportation wise, the box was all damaged. You see the scratches here on the panel, shows what a rough ride it had. All right. Make sure they align properly to the screw. And yeah, this is where you need the oil, because these screws, let me actually put some oil first. These are one of those screws. These are one of those screws where I had to put oil because they were giving me a hard time. So I'm gonna put oil. Now, if you don't have machine oil, you don't necessarily have to use machine oil. You could use kitchen oil, cooking oil. Just don't make a big mess, but you can put in you need a precision delivery tool. You can't just use a fork or a spoon. You need something like that with a syringe or something to have a precision pointed application of oil. This is a very noisy task, so make sure you don't do this assembly at night. You will be receiving complaints from your neighbors. Okay, so all 6 screws on one panel is mounted. Now I'm going to grab another panel, and what I'm going to do is put the second panel right here. And again, just like before, I'll put some oil first. I'll put some oil. Oh wait, this is the front panel. I don't need to put the oil here, because this the front, you don't put a panel. You have the opening and closing knob. So I'm not going to put anything here. I'll turn it around. And put more oil here. Okay. Now I'll put my panel. Now, if you buy a pyramid patio heater from Amazon, from eBay, or from your local hardware store, it may not be exactly like this, but the general assembly should be the same, because most of these are all manufactured in China by maybe 2 or 3 different manufacturers, and they are distributed by different companies here. Okay, so that was done, and now this is the last side panel, and then we have the front panel. So we'll put our oil. We don't want to forget that oil. Believe me, it's going to make a difference, big difference. You will be stripping the screws, you'll be stripping this tapping of the panel, screw tapping of the panel, if you don't put oil. And as I was wrapping it up, I realized where I had the screw. Okay. Okay, I found the washer that I lost. So I'm going to put that washer. Now these are the things that you need to take in consideration, that these are the things that will happen. It's not always simple. These are the things that will happen. You will forget something, you lose something, you have to deal with it. So I put my washer. Okay, now all I have to worry about is the front panel. And the front panel is a piece of cake because all it takes is one screw. That's all it takes, just one screw. So here is the screw. The screw goes through this. And then through this. And through the panel. And you twist the knob. So as you can see, now if you look at the bottom of this panel, it has these notches, and these little notches, they have little openings down below. Let me put my hands here underneath so you can see. See these openings down below, right here? That's where they will go. And then this is magnet right here. Can you zoom into this? This is magnetic strip that holds this. And this is where you put your battery. You open this and you put a AA battery with the plus facing out to turn on the ignition, for the ignition. This is your knob, and you put this here, and voila, we have a completely assembled a pyramid patio heater. All right, thank you for watching.